Well, my friends, welcome to the metal shop. New guitar day of sorts here. New project, upcoming project. Oh, that's the Pete Townsend Eminence front Telecaster. Sold that. Very nice. Guy got a pretty good deal on that. But anyway, so let's do just a little briefest of unboxings here and see what we got. Easier than I thought it would be. See what we got. See anything on the other side of this box? It does. Oh, what's that? SoCal series? Must be. Let's see here. Whoa. Hardware packet. No case, you can tell. They do a pretty good job packaging these things. So let's see what we got here. Try to do this one-handed. All right. Okay. Something looks off here. Let's throw this up on the workbench. See what we got going on here. Oh, rubber band. Look at the size of that rubber band. Bit the dust. Huh? What the heck? Uh-oh. Something's wrong here. This looks like a left-handed guitar. Stand by. Oh, a broken left-handed guitar. Come on. Look at my dirty workbench while I pull this shroud off of this guitar. There we are. It is indeed a lefty. And I'm just kidding, my friends. I did order this left-handed guitar for an upcoming project. I wanted the neck. I wanted a reverse headstock. All shall be revealed shortly. This is the SoCal series. I'm not sure of the nomenclature. Something to do with a 2 humbucker deal, 2H, something. Little tip. I bought this from Pro Audio Star. They are blowing these things out. These things sell all day long for $1,100, $1,099. Okay, Pro Audio Star selling them a lot cheaper than that, and it's a tip. And I'm going to give credit to Phil McKnight from Know Your Gear, who told me what's happening. And what they do is the dealers, when they have too much of these, they have like an overstock situation, and they're trying to get around MAP, or the minimum advertised price. They mark them as used. But if you know what you're looking for, this guitar is brand new. It's not a return. It's not an anything. This is a brand new guitar. They mark as used so that they can advertise it for lower than that $1,099 that Charvel makes them advertise it for. So I'm going to strip this thing down. I'm going to keep the pickups. These are both real Duncan distortions, a neck and a bridge distortion. Got no use for the left-handed Floyd Rose. It is the 1000 series, so it's nicer than the special. Not quite as good as the original, but you know, is what it is. Got some funky knobs here, flat tops like Telecasters. So really all I want the pickups. I bought the thing for the neck, and all shall be revealed. But let's no use for the left-handed nut either. I'm going to be selling all this stuff, so if you're a lefty or you know any lefties who want a guitar, project guitar, I may put this thing together and sell it. Probably sell it as parts. But let's go to the time lapse and start breaking this thing down. And today we're talking about buffing off the logo, the Seymour Duncan logo off your pickups. Now, I love Seymour Duncan pickups, and I'd love to give him the advertising, the so on. But I'm not an endorsee, and if you're trying to make an accurate replica or reproduction of an 80s guitar, I'm a child of the 80s. I like things from the 80s. I like my Seymour Duncans when they had no logo. So these are just silk screened on, and they can be buffed off by hand. I like to use, you need a very fine buffing compound. Something automotive is fine. I use Mother's Power plastic polish. This is the last step if you're polishing your headlights. And I use this is an actual one of the old style folding baby diapers. This actually has a little bit of grit in it itself. So you're not going to use this, say if you're cleaning this black finish, you want to use a microfiber for that. But this having a little bit of grit, just fine for buffing off the logo. So we'll go to a time lapse and I'll let you know exactly how long it takes to hand buff off that logo. We're going to put a little bit of the polish on the rag here and we're just going to hand buff it off. All right, stand by. All right, there you have it. That took maybe 90 seconds of plastic polish, an abrasive kind of cloth diaper here, and elbow grease. The S always comes off the hardest, I think because it's in the silkscreen, it gets the most amount of paint actually on it. Easier to do while they're in the guitar, while they're solidly mounted, but you can do it in your hand. So there's a quick little how-to. Buff off the Seymour Duncan logo off your pickups. Cool. All right, so you saw me just begin the teardown here, taking the stock parts off this, gone ahead and switched them out for gold. These are real nice Schaller left-handed tuners, really the best that money can buy. Real made in Germany Floyd locking clamp and a retainer bar. A lot nicer than the stuff that was on here. Very disappointed. The tuners now, I don't know if you saw this, there's no screw. There's no set screw in the back of the Charvel tuners. It has the two little nubs there and holes drilled, which thankfully are covered up by these real tuners. So I was disappointed to see that, not the standard Goto Jackson Charvel tuners. What else? They were all barely finger tight. Like you could almost loosen them with the fingers. You put a wrench on it, just barely to get them loose. You ever heard people say finger loose? I don't like that. It's not finger loose. It's finger tight. And anyway, they were all barely finger tight. The retainer bar here, the screws were barely in a thread or two. A quick twist and it fell right off. And last but not least, we're in this tiny little area of the guitar here. We have tuners, we have the retainer bar, we have the locking clamp. And they managed to, Charvel Fender, FMIC, managed to fail on all three. Again, barely tightened down tuners, barely installed retainer bar, and the locking clamp. Let's talk about that. Can you see that? This is a left-handed locking clamp, so I kind of excuse it's probably difficult. But whenever you see a ridge like that, that is the sign of pure junk aftermarket Chinesium, for the Asian market locking clamp. You're never going to see a ridge like that on a real Floyd. And just for the sake of argument here, there is a real Floyd R5, and you can see how it is nice and flush versus this piece of garbage. The other thing we ran into is this piece of garbage here necessitated the use of a shim, because not only is it's too short, and the last but not least, when I went to put the German clamp on, the screws were not in the right spot. They were, you put it on and it was off the nut and it was shifted up. So I had to fill the holes. I had to re-drill the top hole and put a shim in the second hole to push the clamp to where I wanted it. So, I mean, complete and total failure on the made in Mexico SoCal Charvel, which is very disappointing because I've heard nothing but good things about them. And quite honestly, I had some couple of the Adrian Smith Jacksons. The quality control was much better on them. So, what did I buy this for? Why did I need to have this left-handed neck? Why did I pay for this entire guitar just to get a real Charvel left-handed neck? And here, I will show you what we are building. Probably figure it out. All right. There we are. So let's do this. This is going to be difficult. Probably going to be easier. Going to stand by. I'm going to give a quick pause here. We're going to have to remove that tuner, so stand by. All right, so kind of a womp womp moment there. I was going to do this big reveal, and instead, get a big time pause. But anyway, so this... Trying to get it just right. And you've probably figured out what we're doing by now. Yes, making an accurate replica, a hyper-accurate replica of Richie Sambora's Jackson Strat as used in the videos for You Give Love a Bad Name and Living on a Prayer, which Richie inexplicably sold off in a big-time sale in the early 2000s. And I had to buy a complete set, 2 complete sets of these inlay stickers just to get the large headstock and stickers for the body. Anyway, one goes on the body. We'll do that at another time. They would not make me just the large body and headstock stickers. Interestingly, the Schallers have this new stepped, can we see that? This stepped little washer here, and I had to go through with an awl and open up the holes, and you'd be very careful, like it wouldn't fit. You get it with the awl and then it fits loose. So yeah, this is the worst one. This one I just made it too loose. And I mean, you're talking like fractions of a millimeter there. So yeah, that is what we are building. Anyway, my friends, let's give a brief pause and we'll continue this build. All right, so we're going to get ready to wrap this up here. I did want to point out a couple more things. So, more fails of the SoCal, the Pro Mod SoCal here. Again, everything you touch, you get into the neck pocket here. And first things first, no neck gasket. That's just chintzy. I really like the super hard plastic neck gasket. It prevents these from the neck plate from bending and splitting. It's $1 per unit, you know. I mean, you had to save the $1, really? No. And this was stuck to the finish because obviously this was put on, you know, when the finish was not quite cured. Neck shim, not the end of the world. I've used neck shims. We've all used neck shims. Sometimes it's necessary. Still don't like to see it in a brand new guitar. And I'm not sure what these are here, but I counted, here I'm just trying to get a screwdriver, 10 of these tiny little holes. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I don't have any idea what those holes are for. It's so weird. Maybe you guys can enlighten me in the comments. I was getting ready to remove these pickups. I wanted to keep the Seymour Duncan pickups. I was pleasantly surprised here to find push-pull pots. And I looked and tried to figure out what they did. And obviously, coil splitting. And yes, the volume coil splits both of the pickups. But there's a push-pull on the tone pot. And there is a, whatever you call it, I can't even think of what it's called, a resistor, a capacitor, right there for the tone pot. But what does the push-pull do on the tone pot? And I'm trying to trace the wires, and I cannot, for the life of me, figure it out. They call it only Sweetwater has a good description of this guitar, by the way, through all the searches. They call it a no-load tone pot, and they say when it's wide open, it has no effect on the sounds. So I left this together. I'm going to mess with it a little bit, although, you know, there's no guitar attached to it any longer. Let's set this aside. My nice little trick there. I always like to use a rag when you're flipping the pickguard over, because we don't want to scratch this all up. I plan on selling this. If you're interested in a left-handed Charvel guitar body, hit me up. So we want to see, and here we have the body that it's going on. Charvel Sandemus SD3 Pro Mod HSS. You'll notice no Floyd. No Floyd route there. We are going to route this guitar for a Floyd. And I'm torn between having my pro luthier, a good friend of mine, do the routing for me. He's done it for me before, and I know it will be perfect. He uses a Bridgeport mill, and I've got another friend who has a Bridgeport mill would let me use his to do it, or I could route it myself. Neck plate screws, probably the best I've seen. These are nice. Very nice. So there's a point. There's one minor point in their favor. Anyway, so this is going to be routed for the Floyd. And here we have the star. And I did notice that my stars are just a hair bigger. If you look at pictures of Richie's guitars, his were just a little bit smaller than this. And I've made some marks here as to exactly where I want this. And I've looked and looked and looked and looked at his pictures, and I've cleaned this area with rubbing alcohol and made sure that it's really going to stick well. Yeah, that there. I think that's going to do it. Richie's looked a little bit less like Mother of Pearl. They were more white, but they were very, very similar. They had a black outline, and they had a fake mop, Mother of Pearl, Mother of Toilet Seat inlay in the center of them. These are more, they've given it a little greenish, yellowish hue to really try and fool the eye there. Just use a pencil to mark where I wanted that. But let's get the full effect here as to what we're going for. And I despise the wagon wheel truss rod adjuster. That fits nice and tight, though, I will tell you that. That's nice. Because they're from the same series of guitars. So let's cut this thing loose here from Skycam. Have a real quick look-see. Oh, yeah. You getting what I'm putting down here? You feeling that? That looks choice. Anyway, my friends, I truly appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. There obviously will be more videos in the future here of the Jackson Charvel RS Star, whatever I'm going to call it. This is going to be a first-class build. Real German gold Floyd vintage piece going in there. I'm going to put either a Duncan or maybe a Sewer Doug Aldrich pickup there that I have in the bridge. Couple of high-quality single coils. First-class build all of the way throughout here at the metal shop. So as always, I truly appreciate your support. Please hit me up in the comments. Let me know about the switching on that the lefty SoCal Pro Mod there. And some other questions that I asked. I don't remember what they are at this time. Please Give me a thumbs up. Helps the algorithm to recommend my video. Again, hit me up in the comments. Still respond to all my comments. And if you are new to the channel, please, please, please click subscribe. All right, my friends? Take care. Dig it. Richie Sambora, Jackson.